What does it cost to hire a car accident lawyer in Georgia? Hi, I'm Ted Spaulding. I'm an Atlanta personal injury trial lawyer here with Spaulding Injury Law. So this is a question that we get all the time when we get our first phone call from a prospective client who has been injured after a car wreck. And it's a natural one. You don't know if you want to hire a lawyer. You don't know what the cost is. Is this going to cost me more than it's worth? So let me go through how a car accident lawyer is paid, because there's a little bit of a misconception out there, and I think a lot of it's born out of the commercials that you see day in and day out, especially during the middle of the day. And what you hear from these lawyers, it's true, but it's also missing a component. So I want to explain that in full to everyone so you feel comfortable about what the cost may be in hiring a car accident lawyer. So the commercials typically say, no fee unless you win. You don't owe us anything unless we recover something for you out of your injury case. Now that's true in the sense that no attorney's fees will be owed unless there's a recovery, but it's missing another component. So keep watching and we'll go through that in full. So the first component of the cost to hire a lawyer are the attorney's fees themselves. That's what you're paying your lawyer for their expertise, for their work, and ultimately, in this situation, to get you the best result possible for your injury claim. That's the attorney's fees. Now that is a contingent fee in a car accident claim, meaning it's contingent on a recovery. So yes, you owe something for attorney's fees if there's a recovery. And then it's also based off of what you recover. And the point of that is so you're aligned with your lawyer, all shooting to the same goal, which is to maximize the allowable compensation to you under the law for your injuries. So the way that works with typical car accident firms, including ours, is it's on a sliding scale depending on when there is a recovery. And it's anything from a third of what's recovered to sometimes 40%. I've heard of folks charging 45, 50%. We never go above 40%. And it depends on when it's recovered for that scale, because the concept is you're not paying your lawyer by the hour. That way you're not having to have an invoice paying your lawyer monthly like you would on an hourly basis. So they're waiving an hourly basis fee and being paid as you go, and waiting years sometimes to generate any revenue, attorney's fees, for handling your case. And again, it's contingent on there being a recovery. No recovery, you don't owe any attorney's fees. So that's fairly simple. A lot of people already have a concept of that contingent fee. Now again, here's where what you hear out there doesn't necessarily go far enough in explanation. That's one of the two components of what you owe your attorney out of a settlement or a verdict. The other are any expenses that are fronted by the firm and then are reimbursed separately from attorney's fees out of your settlement or verdict after a trial. And expenses typically, and this is what you need to understand with whatever firm you go with, are owed back regardless of the result. Okay, so if they take on the case and you get a zero verdict in court for some reason, you may still owe those fees back. It's why the commercials specifically say, because Georgia law requires them to say it this way, that no fee unless you win, meaning no attorney's fees, but you still may owe expenses. Now, expenses are typically pretty low if your case is resolved pre-suit. Okay, typically they're medical record charges for your lawyer to get your medical records, some certified mailings going out to insurance companies. Sometimes you got to talk with the doctors to get their opinions on injuries pre-suit. They'll charge for that. But the point is the firm covers all of that for you on an ongoing basis. That way nothing's coming out of your pocket. You're the injured party. The law puts all the onus on you to pursue your claim, to cover your medical bills up front and get reimbursed at the end. So this way, the firm can take on that burden for you and spend its money to pursue your claim, and then you reimburse them once there's a settlement or a verdict in court. So again, remember that component as well beyond just the attorney's fees. Those two components together compile your entire cost to hire a lawyer. And so what we like to do in talking to prospective clients is gauge whether we believe, based off of what those costs may be and projecting it out and what we think your case may turn out to have a value of, is there enough there for it to make sense to hire a lawyer? This ultimately needs to be somewhat of a business decision. You've got to decide, am I going to have enough to cover the attorney's fees, the costs involved, and still recoup compensation for my medical bills, my lost wages, and my pain and suffering? It's also important to know all of that, because when you get to the point with a lawyer that you're talking settlement options and you're getting numbers from an insurance company or from the defendant once you're in a lawsuit, you need to know what you potentially owe back to decide whether that settlement offer is worth it to not go forward and have a jury tell you what your case is worth. So very important question that folks need to understand, and hopefully this video will help you grasp what it costs to hire a car accident lawyer here in Georgia. Now, a component to this that you'll see on our website, I want you to check out, are our article and videos on when it's appropriate to hire a car accident lawyer and when you may not need to. A lot of lawyers won't give you that kind of advice. We always believe it's important to talk to a lawyer. That's going to be for free. You'll do a free initial consultation. We offer those. So you can at least know the components of what you need to do to protect yourself. But beyond that, what is a scenario where you ought to hire a lawyer versus not? And again, it goes back to what I just said to a certain extent, is what factors are at play that make it worthwhile to have a lawyer involved. So check out that article as well. Thank you for watching this video, and comment, shoot me an email, give me a phone call if you have any questions or concerns. Again, it's Spaulding Injury Law. Our phone number is 770-744-0890. And you can find us on the internet, and we have contact forms on there you can fill out if you have any questions or concern, and that is spauldinginjurylaw.com. Again, thank you for watching this video.